Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for the Weeping City of Mhach Part 1. This is the new 24-man raid made available by patch 3.3 Revenge of the Horde. To keep this guide easily digestible, I've broken it up into two parts. This guide will cover the first two boss encounters in the Weeping City. If you're looking for the last two, click here. My name is Mhach and I'll be your raid guide. The first boss is ARACHNE Eve. Dark Spike is a tank buster that hits for a fair amount of damage, so tanks and healers be ready. SILKEN Spray is a large tail swipe that should be avoided as necessary. Throughout the encounter, players will be marked with these orange targets and eventually drop down puddles of sticky web. Standing in these puddles does mild damage over time and roots you in place. It's recommended that players drop these puddles off near the outer edges of the arena. ARACHNE Eve will burrow into the ground and begin casting a growing AoE ring. Avoid this as necessary. Immediately after, you'll notice the pulsing proximity marker. Move away from this to avoid excess damage. Eve will drop back down in this area and you can resume your attack. Players marked with these yellow AoE markers will bind themselves and anyone caught in their circles with these tethers. Unaffected players need to run through these tethers to free each player. Anytime you see this giant eye and she's casting Frond Afeared, players need to turn their characters away. Getting hit by this cast will apply hysteria on the player. Periodically, she will separate the arena into two platforms. Initially, all three groups will be pulled into the web above the arena, where they'll have to deal with orbs that slowly make their way to the boss. If these orbs reach the boss, she'll gain a damage up stack. The boss is continuously casting Implosion during this time, doing AoE damage. The more orbs she eats, the harder this AoE will hit. You'll notice the webbing has sticky yellow areas that cause damage over time to players. Avoid these as you run around popping the balls. In this phase, adds will spawn that should be picked up by the tanks and destroyed. When the spider ad dies, it will corrode through the webbing, allowing players to jump down. Have one group jump down while everyone else continues popping balls and killing ads up top. Under the web, there are 3 keynots that must be destroyed before the groups are reunited. There are also more ads and AoEs to deal with. Destroy the keynots as fast as possible and then kill the ads. Random players may also be targeted by these webs and will eventually be pulled back up. Once all 3 keynots are destroyed, the web will break and the fight will continue. Shadow Burst is a raid stack mechanic. Collapse onto the affected player to share damage as necessary. Anytime the boss submerges and begins sucking in players to the center of the room, players should run and stand in the sticky web to avoid being sucked into the center. Any player in or near the center will take insane damage when the boss returns and will probably die. As such, taking the orange markers to the outer edges of the arena and forcing the sticky puddles to drop on the edge will help players avoid excess damage. At this point, you've seen every mechanic she'll throw at you, so it's just a matter of handling everything as it comes. The next boss is FORGAL. He will spawn zombie ads that must be destroyed as soon as possible. If they are still alive when the boss casts Necropurge, they will explode, doing high damage and possibly wiping the raid. When these ads spawn and die, you'll notice large green puddles around them. Standing in one of these puddles will place a stack of gradual zombification on you. Taking more stacks of this will turn you into a full zombie, causing you to attack your zombies for the duration of the debuff. Keep this mechanic in mind for now, but for the most part, it's a good idea to avoid stacking this debuff. The boss will throw out large column AoEs throughout the encounter. Avoid these as necessary. These purple laser beam AoEs need one person standing in each to minimize the damage of Punishing Ray. As soon as these spawn, have players spread to each one. Standing in these will apply a small bleed debuff, but it's better than taking excessive damage from not standing in them. If you find yourself targeted by an AoE while standing in a purple laser, note that you do have time to avoid the line AoE before running back into the laser. Periodically, an entire group will be targeted by Brand of the Fallen, signified by these obvious triangles on each player's head. This attack will do more damage the further you are from other players with the same debuff. If you are too far from another player, you will also be turned into a frog for a short duration. Assign a spot to stack together during this time, preferably in the center of the room or in melee range of the boss. Evil Mist is a raid-wide AoE blast that needs to be healed through accordingly. This will also spawn poison mists around the room. After a short time, these poison mists will explode, stacking gradual zombification on anyone nearby. Dark Eruption will mark up 3 players with these orange markers. After some time, they'll drop down AoE puddles beneath them. To avoid stacking these all over the raid, affected players should run away until the puddles stop dropping on them. Eventually, FORGAL will go invulnerable and cast Void Call, summoning 3 ads in the center of the room. Have each tank grab an ad and move them to the outer edges of the arena. I would recommend everyone destroying the succubus first before splitting off to kill the other 2. Each ad has large AoEs to be avoided avoided. The succubus also casts Beguiling Mist, mind-controlling all players and killing them in subsequent AoE blasts. To avoid this, silence or destroy the succubus before this cast goes off. The Hajenti can also cast Immortal Ray, placing doom on anyone that doesn't turn around. Doom can be dispelled if this happens. Once all the adds are destroyed, Forgal will return and the fight will resume. From this point on, all players should be on the lookout for Megadeath. This is a slow cast that will kill everyone. To avoid this, players will use the green puddles or orbs to become zombified. 1 stack of zombification will allow you to survive Megadeath with a bit of damage taken. Being fully zombied negates all damage of Megadeath, but you are then a zombie attacking everyone. Ideally, players should take 1 stack to survive, and have healers heal through the rest of the damage. Healers need to also be on the lookout for Hell Wind. This cast will reduce everyone to extreme lows but not actually kill them. This is usually cast before a wombo combo of abilities, so healers need to expect to fully heal everyone back up after each Hellwind. At this point, the mechanics will repeat. Stand in lasers when they spawn around the room. Stand in green puddles or orbs to apply a zombification stack to yourself when you cast Megadeath. Top everyone off after Hellwind. Rinse and repeat until the boss is down. That's it for part 1 of the Weeping City of Mhach guide. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. If you're looking for more, be sure to watch part 2. Till next time.